Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen. Today's recipe is eggplant parmesan. This is a great vegetarian dish that is a nice casserole that you can put together any day of the week. So if you want one of those meatless meals during the week, this is the one to try. I'm Rockin' Robin and I'm going to show you how to do it right after this. So let's go over our ingredients. First up, we have our pasta sauce. Now I'm just using a jar sauce to keep this simple. All right, so use your favorite. I'm using this one here by Classico. We'll need an eggplant. Now I'm using 3 types of cheeses today. I've got some Gruyere, which I'm going to be grating over my casserole. We have some mozzarella and some Parmesan cheese that's grated. We'll need a couple of eggs. I have some Panko breadcrumbs, some flour, and for our spices, there's quite a few of them here. We have some garlic powder and onion powder. We have some dried thyme, rosemary, and marjoram. We also have some dried basil, oregano, and parsley. We'll need some salt, pepper, olive oil, and some fresh basil. We're going to start off our recipe by peeling our eggplant and then slicing it into about 1/4 inch slices. Then I'm going to place the slices on a rack and I'm going to sprinkle salt all over all the pieces, and that's going to help draw out some of the moisture from the eggplant so that when we do fry it, it will crisp up a lot better. So while the eggplant is sweating over there on the rack, we're going to mix our crumbs. We got our panko crumbs there. We're going to put that in a pie plate. I want something a little deep so that everything will stay in place. And then we'll add all of our spices, you know, the garlic powder and the onion powder and, you know, the rosemary, all those that I mentioned earlier, and just toss them all right in. And then you want to stir this up to combine it really well. And then I'm going to add a little pepper to that as well. And then we'll set that aside until we're ready to use it. The next thing we're going to do is take our sauce and put it into a saucepan, and we're going to heat it up so that it's, you know, nice and hot when we put everything together, and it won't take that long once it goes in the oven. So I've got my sauce in there, and then I'm going to take my fresh basil. I love to add fresh basil to spaghetti sauce. It just really just does something wonderful to the sauce. So you saw how I rolled that up and then made it into the shape of a little cylinder and then just chop it up. So I'll just toss that in. And we'll give that a stir and put it on the stove and heat it up. So I think you can see here the moisture that's starting to come out of the eggplant from the salt being on it. And that's what you want. You want to get some of that moisture out. So pretty soon you're going to go another 5 minutes or so, and then we're going to pat them dry. So I've got my paper towels here. I just folded up some, and now I'm just going to, you want to blot your eggplant, okay? And you can see how it picks up a lot of the moisture. And I'm pushing on it pretty good to really get it to absorb. So I have myself set up here at the stove. I have my eggplant here, right here in this dish is I have my eggs, and you want to just scramble them up. I have my breadcrumbs. This is my baking dish right here, ready to go. My frying pan where I'm going to be frying up the eggplant, and then of course right back here I have my tomato sauce that's nice and warm. So I'm going to heat my frying pan up over medium heat. All right, so I'm going to pour about 1/2 inch of olive oil just to cover the bottom of the pan. So take your eggplant, dip it into the egg mixture, and turn it over and coat it nicely, and then we'll place it into the crumb mixture. And make sure to coat the edges of the eggplant as well. Now you want your oil hot enough, so make sure it sizzles. If it's not, then go ahead and turn it up a little bit. And then you're going to want to flip them over as they get brown. You can see it's nice and golden brown here. You want to keep an eye on them because you don't want them to burn. Now remember I said I have my dish right here that's going in the oven. I'm going to put just a very thin layer of sauce on the bottom of this dish and just spread it out. I don't want to put too much because I don't want my eggplant to get too soggy. I want it to be as crispy as possible. Okay, so these only been cooking about 4 minutes or so total. I flipped them over. I went back and forth, you know, one side gets more done than the other. These are looking pretty good. So yeah, 4 to 5 minutes total, depending on how high your heat is. Place it in my dish. I'm just laying them side by side. Now you're probably going to have to add a little more oil to the pan each time you do a batch, just a little bit. Make sure the temperature gets hot again, because every time you add eggplant to the pan, of course, that's going to drop the temperature as well. So you kind of have to play with your temperature a little bit. Bring it up and then down once things get moving. So I'm going to cook another batch so we can fill up the first layer in our dish. Once we get our first layer of eggplant done, we can add our other ingredients to it. Now we're going to add about a tablespoon of the spaghetti sauce to the top of each piece of eggplant. Now the reason I'm not smothering it with sauce is because I want that eggplant to stay as crispy as possible. Then we'll hit it with a little mozzarella, a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese, and we'll finish it off with a little Gruyere cheese, which will give it a nice little nutty flavor. I love that. Now we will repeat that layer, ending with the cheese on top. So place the casserole in the oven, 375 degrees Fahrenheit, for 10 to 15 minutes or until the cheese melts. Our eggplant is out of the oven, nice and hot. Can't wait to dig in. So I'm going to take one of these out of here, or at least a section of it. I'm going to add a little bit of the spaghetti sauce on the side so it doesn't make things, you know, too soggy, and it just adds to the dish. And I'm going to take a taste. Very delicious, guys. I've made this actually both ways, where I've used more of the sauce in the casserole, and I like it this way better because you can really taste the breading and the crispiness of the eggplant, which I think is just delicious with all those spices and everything that we put in there. Really good, guys. All my vegetarian friends out there, you're gonna love this. Please try it. Let me know what you think. And same for the rest of you. You know, let me know what you think about this. Leave me a comment. If you have any recipe requests, I'd love to hear about it. And if you make this or you're gonna make it, let me know. I'd like to hear. All right, thanks so much for watching, everybody. And if you haven't subscribed and you want to see more recipes like this, click the subscribe button. There'll be one on the end screen at the end of the video, and there's one down below in the description area. So check that out. All right, thanks again for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.